Is trigonometry more challenging than precalculus? I think the answer depends on the individual. Different people have different strengths and weaknesses. If you're more of a visual learner, if you enjoy graphing, then you might like Trig a little bit more. Although there's plenty of graphing in precalc, but I feel like in Trig, there's just a lot more going on with graphs. You know, you're drawing things, you're drawing diagrams, you're drawing triangles, you're drawing the unit circle, you're looking at angles. There's a lot more, drawing with a pencil than there is in precalc. Precalc is more algebraic. For me personally, I thought trigonometry was much more challenging than precalculus. I ended up with an A in trigonometry, but a B or a B plus in precalc, and it was quite the shocker. I was pretty sure I was going to get an A in precalc, and I took the final and I thought I did really well, but I got a B and I was really disappointed. But life goes on. B's get degrees, no big deal. But most people I have found struggle with trig. As a teacher, teaching trigonometry and teaching precalculus, I have found students study way more for trig because it's harder and they struggle more in trig. Trig is more narrow. So you're focusing on trig functions. You're focusing on triangles and angles. You do some stuff with polar coordinates and maybe some parametric equations, but it's very focused on the trig functions and angles. It's like one thing. It's trigonometry. Precalc, on the other hand, is kind of like a wide range of topics. You do polynomials, you do a lot of the stuff you did in college algebra, you do it again. You study functions, you do graphs of rational functions, systems of equations, matrices. You might do a little bit of counting theory, maybe some probability, some induction proofs. So precalc is very, very broad. So it's kind of like you're looking at something that's very, very narrow and focused, which is trig, versus like a broad subject like precalc. Precalc, it's funny. I used to have this friend on the internet who hated precalc. He didn't like the word precalc. He used to say, "What is precalculus even? Like, what does it even mean?" Right? It's just a bunch of subjects that people decided to throw together in a book and call them precalculus, right? I mean, I think if you go really, really far back in time, I don't think there were precalc books. I have some precalc books that are pretty old. I've got some from the 60s. I'm looking at one here. It's from the 60s. So it was around then. But I think if you go back to like maybe the 30s and the 20s, I'm not sure if there's precalc books that go back that far. A precalc book usually covers everything you need for precalc and trig. So my vote for which is the hardest is going to be trig. That's just because it's my personal experience. I think trig is harder. If you're in algebra and you're thinking, hey, can I learn precalc, or hey, can I learn trig? The answer is yes. Yes, you can just jump in. In fact, even if you just know a little bit of algebra, I think you can jump in. So what's the best way to learn? Well, I have courses, so you should get those, obviously. They're on my website, mathsorcerer.com or freemathvids.com. And they're on Udemy, but if you get them, use the links from my website, please. It helps me greatly. So check it out. Or you can get a book, or you can do both. So here's a book. I have one here. I picked one out for this video that I thought was pretty decent and probably widely available. It's a good book. It's called Precalculus. This is the 7th edition. The edition isn't going to really matter so much. And this book will contain precalc and trig. So you can actually just start here. If your algebra is really, really weak, you're going to struggle when you start. But honestly, I say just jump in and try it. One of the great things about books like this is that you'll have them for the rest of your life. It's just, I got to smell it. Sorry. So good. Fantastic book, super, super heavy. And you can use it for other things too, like propping up a monitor or other things. It's a solid book, really heavy duty, right? So some trees gave their life for this book so the knowledge could be transported into our minds. But great book. It's got answers to the odd numbered problems, and you can learn a lot of mathematics from a book like that. How would you do that? How would you get a book like this and learn? My advice would be to just do a little bit every day. Sit down every day and see how you do. Try to do at least one math problem every day and go from there and start your learning journey. So yeah, Trig and Precalc are interesting classes. Obviously the teacher is going to make a big difference in what's going to be harder and what's going to be easier. But I do think that Trig was definitely harder for me. And I think it was just the graphing. Some people really struggle with trigonometric identities. That's something I actually really enjoyed when I took Trig. And I think it's because it's more algebraic. I'm better at algebraic things, or at least I was better at algebraic things. Now I'm okay at all of it. But like at the time, I struggled more with the trig graphs. You know, when you're first starting out, you always find things that are really tough. And I think most people find trig to be pretty tough. Anyways, kind of a random video, but I wanted to put this out there. What do you think? Do you think trig is harder than precalc? What was your experience? Do you think precalc is harder? You know, precalc with the wide range of topics can really be hard on people. It kind of reminds me of discrete mathematics. That's another class where it's a wide range of topics, but that's even more different because it's not based on the type of mathematics you're used to learning. You're used to learning algebra and stuff like that. You go to discrete math, it's very, very different. It's a different type of math. So that's another video. In any case, I want to know what you think. Leave a comment. And if you found any value in this content, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to. Until next time, good luck. Keep doing mathematics.